J'invite maintenant le réalisateur de Caminho dos gigantes, le chemin des géants, Alois DI LEO. Hello. Alois DI LEO, you were here 6 years ago with your student film, The Boy Who Wanted to Be a Lion, a film you made at the NFTS in Great Britain. Now you're back in Brazil. What happened to you since then?
When I went back to Brazil after living in England, I started working with commercials, and I had this idea that I had to make money. Bad idea. And then after a couple of years, I just realized I had to get back to making films. So 2 years ago, I decided to make a new short film. And that's how I made the Giants.
So you made money in commercials, and now you spend money in short film.
Yes.
Yes. You are your own producer, and this is why I'm saying that you spend your money in your short film. So how is it possible to finance a film like this in Brazil? What is the situation of the production there?
My film was financed in 3 different ways. I won a grant from the government, Prêmio Estímulo, which gave me half of the money. It's an open competition. Anyone can apply in the from the country, and basically there were 700 projects, of which 15 were selected and 5 were animations. The idea of this funding is that you make fiction films, so the money is never enough for an animated project. So I had to raise the remaining part of the money. Part of the money came from my own pocket, so me and my team, we worked on some commercials to pay for the film. And a little bit of the money came from a crowdfunding campaign we did to bring the musician, Tito La Rosa, who came from Peru with his instruments to record the track for the film.
So you were born in Peru yourself, and you told me about your musician who is from Peru. Is this for you more a Peruvian story or a Brazilian story?
I think it's an indigenous story. It's about it's about people who have a very close relationship with nature rather than a nationality. So I inspired myself in the Amazonian people as well as in Korowai from New Guinea, and the music plays such an important role that I needed a specific type of music that had a very specific relationship with nature. So the instruments and the sound of the music had to be organic and very natural. It was definitely not something that was going to be composed digitally or in a very normal way. And in fact, that's what happened with the soundtrack. Although we tried to prepare ourselves as much as we could, it was improvised. We just recorded for 3 days. He had about 50 different instruments, and we just played all the different instruments and started working it very much, almost like sculpting the music and playing back the film. So it was a very, very organic process.
So was it clear from the beginning that you wanted to work with this musician, or?
No, I didn't know. I knew the music needed to be really important, but I didn't know what I had to do. So I did a lot of research, and I ended up going to the Museum of Inca in Cusco, and that's where I met, there was a musician there, and he had all these Inca instruments and Andean instruments, and he taught me all the instruments, and he played all the instruments to me, and then at the end he sold me the CD, and the CD was from Tito La Rosa, and that's where I contacted him, and I brought him to Brazil.
It's an ecological subject, an ecological topic. Is it something that is very important for you? Is it something that you wanted to do for a long time?
Yes, I think the ecological question is very important in the film. I think most importantly is our relationship with nature and how we come from nature, and at the end how we go back to nature, and just how it feels that the more we evolve, the less contact with nature we have, and how inevitable it is that at the end we all go back to nature, we all die and decompose and go back to Earth. And I wanted to to do it in a very subtle way. I didn't want to preach about it. I didn't want to feel it like a documentary. I just wanted to feel like a process of the cycle of life. So I did it in a very poetical way, in a very musical way, so to inspire people rather to tell them what to feel.
Something strong in your film is the fact that it could be shown, I think, to very young viewers. So, in your head, who were your first public for this film?
I think everyone was from the beginning. When you talk about the cycle of life, there isn't really a specific public. I was really going for everyone, I think. And I've been selected for a couple of festivals on the children's category, and that was really, really exciting for me as well, because it shows to me that there is an interest from younger audiences on this subject, and that they're also willing to try to understand the film and go through the journey of the narrative.
3 years ago and 2 years ago, it's feature-length films from Brazil who won the Crystal here. Last year, there was a short film by Rosana Urbes who was awarded here too. What is the situation of animation in Brazil in general?
The situation is very good, actually. The National Agency of Cinema, the ANCINI, they invest a lot on making films, and now they're investing even more on making animated films, given the recent successes. So they're starting to give the first proper grants for making animated films. Actually, the first one is coming on June, at the end of June. So it's a really good moment for animation in Brazil, and also a very good moment for TV series, animated TV series for children in Brazil. So it's very exciting times, and more we're starting to get really talented animators and also some new directors and producers, because it's very new for us, so we don't have all the structure yet, but it's coming along.
And what is your next project?
Well, I have two next projects. I have a short film. It's called Corona Heart of Stone, which is the story of a little girl who is in love with love. She wants to learn everything about love, and while doing that, she learns all the bad things that happen in love, so she gets very disappointed. And I have a feature film as well that is called The 7 Lives of a Cat, which is a journey through Brazilian dictatorship in a kind of contemporary setup, because it's something that is happening right now. And it also has a very strong musical side to it. It tells the story of a young musician who is traveling with 7 cats, and he plays music to sort of fight the problems, the social problems that are happening.
Questions in the audience? Derrière.
Ma question porte sur le style de l'animation. Est-ce que c'est le style que... J'ai pas vu vos précédents, votre film de fin d'études, mais est-ce que c'est le style que vous privilégiez d'habitude, ou est-ce que c'est un style que vous avez voulu adopter pour ce projet en particulier? Et si oui, comment est-ce que vous en êtes venu à ce style d'animation-là?
It was specific for this film. My previous film was 2D hand-drawn on paper. It was very, very organic. But for this film, I wanted something that... I wanted a character that was young enough to have the emotions, but at the same time adult enough to feel them and project on this journey. So, and every time you draw a young character, inevitably it looks a little bit infantile. So it was a lot of work trying to find the right look for the film. Also, for this project, I worked with 2 animators that did all the animation pretty much. I did some of the effects. So it was I chose to have a team of people for this project. When in my graduation film, I did all the animation.
Another question? Here.
Oui, dans votre film, il y a un sujet vraiment de l'écologie, mais il y a aussi, on voit un peu, à travers les personnages du jeune, de l'enfant, on voit un peu les étapes du deuil aussi. Est-ce que ça a été fait consciemment ou c'était un sujet qui s'est imposé comme ça ou c'était vraiment très planifié?
I'm very happy you noticed on this. It was the starting point of the film was this thing about death where we go when we die. So this is like a poetical way for me to what happens when we die. And I constructed the narrative following the stages in which we realize or accept death. So the narrative is constructed on denial, depression, anger, and acceptance and negotiation. So yes, definitely, the whole narrative is that. Yeah.
Oui.
J'ai beaucoup aimé votre film et j'ai beaucoup aimé votre film, la progression, le rite de passage, les références culturelles. Il y a un élément que j'ai pas réussi à intégrer, c'est quel est le lien entre l'arbre qu'on coupe et celui qui pousse à la fin. Est-ce que celui qui pousse se nourrit de celui qui meurt? J'aurais souhaité un éclairage là-dessus.
Yes, it's the idea that everything is connected. It's the idea that what we take is also what we give. So, and also the idea that that death is not necessarily the end, but rather there is another death and then another death. We become other things, and that from that we take something and we use it to create something else. So I was just trying to keep the loop going and not just have someone be born and then someone die, but rather have another death in the middle, so to have the process. And I also wanted to show that the trees are alive, and to do that I have to cut the tree and see it die, so the tree breathes and so on. So I wanted to have that idea that maybe death is not the last thing of us, but rather there is another stage.
On a le temps pour une dernière question. Oui.
Je ne sais pas si vous avez vu cette année un magnifique film qui se passe aussi dans la forêt qui s'appelle L'étreinte du serpent. Alors, j'ai pas le nom.
Embrace of the Serpent. It's a Colombian film.
Je vous recommande de le voir parce que c'est exactement ce sujet-là sur la nature, le cycle de la vie. Et c'est un très grand film selon moi en tout cas. Merci.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Alois DI LEO.